Hi everyone, my name is Mary, and I replaced our school principal. It just happened, and then I got into a taste of it, and look what came out of it. There was a big staff turnover at the school this year. To make you understand, our school is different from usual. Very different. We study only the dregs of society, homeless children who miraculously got a chance at a free education, orphans and children from dysfunctional families. In total, there were about 800 of us, and we were all sent here on behalf of social support. Man, did they really think that we'd get a decent education or that our lives would change? No, life doesn't change, people change in it. Maybe some circumstances change. It certainly can't get any better. That's what I thought for most of my 17 years. I went to that school for 6 years, and the only thing I learned in those years was how to read and write. I was the smartest damn girl there. But in that school, you need more than important qualities like literacy, qualities that won't let you be hurt. 99% of the students in our school had a criminal record, systematic absences, legal problems. That includes me. What we can do to each other is punch each other in the face. It doesn't matter if a boy is fighting a girl or a boy's fighting a boy, you know? Everybody can fight, and that 1% of supposedly clean people, they just have everything ahead of them. The management of our school is separate crap. Teachers and the director himself apparently did things wrong too. Therefore, they were sent to re-educate non-re-educated children. That is us. I'll tell you a secret. Out of the 20 teachers, I have not seen anyone who would smile at least once, being here for all of my 6 years. And then some investor came to our school and decided to give us some money to make repairs, to provide us with not torn books and even provide free meals. Everyone was happy, except the students, because we knew better than anyone else that you have to pay for everything. So we just waited. Literally within a week, the school was cleared from the scrutiny of City Hall and all the teachers were fired with a compensation of triple the annual salary. I knew something was coming, and it did. We were introduced to 30 new employees, one principal, and all the other teachers. These dudes weren't just educators, they were also soldiers, watching our every move, checking our pockets and bags, taking our blood twice a week to detect drugs or alcohol. If they found it, they took the pupil away for a month and took him away to hell. Only one person managed to get back from there. Me. I won't tell you exactly what I went through, that's not the story, but how I came out of there and why I went back to school. That day after I was discharged, I went home, took a shower, and only then did I see all the horror imprinted on my skin. Fresh memories of the way I had been treated in that clinic jolted into my head. What had I done before that? Why had I been taken away? I had a beer with my boyfriend. Whatever it is in this world, I didn't do drugs. That's taboo for me. Surprised? Are you as sure as our principal that all sucky kids are on the needle? No, I had a beer. A surprise inspection came and they took me to a place called the clinic. Yeah, short and simple like that. Then what happened? Then it just got worse. And you know, the numerous drips with incomprehensible substances were just a taste. I sat at home for 1.5 months to find the courage to go out. And then an insidious plan was born in my head. All the horror I had gone through had left an imprint on me forever. I walked into the school with only one goal in mind, to triple the coup. Everyone was surprised by my appearance, but no one dared to ask me what I had been doing. I saw sympathy and fear in the eyes of the other students. Just down the corridor, I noticed a familiar silhouette. It was our principal.
Good morning. Mary, right? It's good to see you here. How is your treatment?
I didn't say anything. I just walked toward him very quickly, and then I ran my knee between his legs. The director bent over in pain, made a mug, and the guards tied me up right away. I didn't say a word. I was thrown out the door. Some students came out after me, and there was a surprise waiting for them. While I was at home, I thought of something and made my plan a reality. It was difficult, but we did it. Outside stood all those students who had raked in with me. They came there in what they kept us in the clinics, t-shirts, shorts, and barefoot. They all had their mouths tied because that's what they did to us to keep us quiet. The guys showed their hands, bruises and abrasions. Everyone was freaking out. A minute later, journalists and bloggers arrived there, and we all stood in a line and were silent. Then I gave a speech. My name is Mary. I am a student at the school. I am 17 years old. I am only 17 years old, and I have been through horror and a nightmare that not every adult will encounter in their life. Miraculously, I managed to get out of that clinic alive. What can't be said about the 5 kids who were in my class? I have no idea who is behind us, other than our sponsor and his 6th grader, our principal. You have no idea what they are doing to us, all because they know their impunity. But it's not going to happen anymore. I say to the world, our sponsor, the mayor, and the director are murderers. Just because we're the scum of the earth doesn't mean we can be crushed. I shouted over the loudspeaker. My statement was shown live on TV. There was such a ruckus that it was terrifying. The phones and emails were ringing off the hook for comments. We immediately had human rights activists, police, and other civil servants ready to punish the leadership. We got what we wanted. They were all fired. Someone was put in jail. But another problem arose. I and the kids from the whole school got together in the auditorium to discuss what to do next. What now? We haven't got teachers. We haven't got a principal. We've got nothing.
Yes, what will we do? Who's going to teach us? My mom was so happy when I got to go to school, and now what? Back to stealing and going to jail? Mary, what you did was good, but then what?
I thought for a while, and I said, I'm going to be your principal. What?
But how?
We'll manage. We didn't have a normal principal anyway, so we'll make it. Just because they didn't believe in us doesn't mean we're not worthy. Our faith in us lies in us, so we'll figure something out and we'll get through it. I promise you guys, I promise.
And they backed me up.
The whole school stood up and applauded. I didn't really feel confident, and I had no idea how to run a school at all. The first week, we tried to find a structure and come up with our own ideas. I was about to give up until at one point a stranger came into my office. As it turned out, it was a journalist. For many years, he had written about the fraudulent schemes between our director and that businessman, but his publications were being suppressed, and now they were at the top of the views. He thanked me for my courage and said he wanted to help, and he did. He turned out to have many acquaintances who were out of work, including teachers. Literally, within a week, we had recruited, the journalist sponsored, and we became enthusiastic. I also attended classes and ran the school business in parallel. It became only a pleasure for me.
You're doing quite well.
Thank you. I didn't think I'd make it this far.
Thanks to you, I've got fame and money, and I'm sharing it with you all, honestly.
What about that clinic?
They closed it. I went to make a report yesterday. Not a single employee there has a medical degree, come to think of it.
Then who are they?
They were sick in the head. They needed you to scream in pain. They worked for a businessman for free, and in return, they got adrenaline in the form of your suffering.
Oh my God, they're sick!
Don't worry, the trial is coming up. Will you be able to speak against him? I have already prepared a speech. You're doing well. There are few fighters like you, but you were able to do it. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm off to work. Write or call if you need me.
It's been 4 months since then. The trial is ending, and I think victory is on our side. Thanks to a journalist and our sponsor in one person, we've gotten enough attention, so we'll wait a month for the announcement. In the meantime, I'm filling in as school principal. Pretty soon, my school will be over, but I plan to stay anyway. Our school has taken on a different look. The students themselves have even changed. It's no longer those painted walls, foul language, and theft in the hallways. Everyone goes out on Subotnik, and we even have musical evenings and plays. I never thought it would be like in the movies, but we deserve it. Now I can't call us scum anymore, because we're not that. After all, we've chosen a different path and become better people. Who would have thought that life could change so quickly? The main thing is to take control of your situation and start doing something about it. Wouldn't you?
Move over, crap. What did you say? Yes, you right now. What will you do? I won't get anything anyway. People like you are always lucky. You need to be able to sleep with men 30 years older than you. right? What did you say? Mary pushed Jane with all her strength. These two former friends simply hated each other now. Mary was blonde, Jane was brunette, but they actually had a lot more in common than they thought. Just 10 years ago, these two girls met. They lived next door to each other and could not imagine themselves without each other. Mary and Jane, their names even combined in a special way. Mary did not have a father, and in general, this topic was a sore point for her. Jane supported her friend in every possible way, comforted her, so they were friends. Then they went to the same school, and everything changed. What kind of circus do you think this is? Deciding to sort things out right in the middle of the school? Not under my guidance. This isn't a street for you, Mr. Lydon shouted at the two students sitting on chairs in front of his desk. What is the matter this time? She started it first. What? You pushed me. If you hadn't called me a whore, I wouldn't have attacked you. The truth hurts, doesn't it? Jane jabbed at Mary. Quiet. Girls, how many times do I have to tell you? If you don't stop fighting, I'll have to call your moms and invite them to the school. Is that what you want? While Mr. Lydon was writing in his room, Jane saw a beautiful notebook on the floor. While Mary wasn't looking, she grabbed it and put it in her bag. The principal then gave the two girls their notes and told them that they would henceforth attend classes in different buildings in order to avoid skirmishes in the common corridors. The girls silently took the papers and went to class. When Jane got home, the first thing she did was open that notebook in her room. She was very interested in what was written there. We all know that everyone has their secrets, and when one person owns the secrets of another, he becomes powerful, domineering. So, that's it. That explains why you're running after her like that. I thought Mary was sleeping with you. Well, it will be fun, she said sarcastically, and sat down to come up with a plan. Back at school the next day, the director confronted Jane again. Jane, it's not enough that you're late for class, but you've come against the school's dress code. Apparently, our conversation yesterday didn't teach you anything. To your office? Exactly. Can you tell me what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like this? You know, how long have you been with us? 7 to 8 months? You may not be a bad principal, but your close attention to Mary, your indulgences in her address reflected on me. You probably know that we used to be friends, but then our friendship ended. And when you came into her life, she suddenly decided to push me with the fact that she gets away with everything thanks to you. You're her father, right? It's difficult to say how many feelings the principal experienced at this time. But Jane had hit the nail on the head. Mr. Lydon was Mary's father, and for her sake, he even got a job as headmaster at the school where she attended. He planned to make friends with his daughter, but not tell her who he was until the time was right. At first, everything went according to plan, but he didn't know that everything could go wrong just because of Jane. You may ask why these girls quarreled in the first place. Mary had come home one day, but no one was there. Her mother was called to work, and out of habit, she went straight to visit Jane. But her friend wasn't home either. Jane's father invited Mary to join them, gave her food and water, then suddenly, Mary burst into bitter tears. You're a wonderful father, and I wish I had one. Jane's father was confused, hugged the girl, and said that everything would be fine, that she was like a daughter to them, and that they would do anything for her. And at that moment, Jane arrived home. She loved her friend and would do anything for her, but she would not share her parents. Jealousy began to bloom in her. The girls quarreled, and their friendship came to an end. Now, the director asked nervously, Does she know? No. Don't tell her, please. It's not time yet. She won't accept me right away. So that's why she gets so many favors. I only thought about the bad stuff. About what? Oh my God, no. I just don't want to yet. Okay, I understand, but I have conditions. You will do as I say.
That's impertinence, young lady.
Do you want me to tell her everything? Mr. Lydon sighed and then asked her what she wanted. Jane voiced a couple of conditions. Now there was not going to be a dress code for her. She could be late for classes and do homework every other day and still only get good grades. She also asked the principal to make free lunches for her at a diner near the school. She knew it was his diner, so he agreed. Mr. Lydon also gave his word that he would never reveal their secret, and Jane left satisfied. Jane's life as a high school student turned into a fairy tale from that moment on. Going to school was a pleasure now. 2 weeks passed in this way, and then she and Mary ran into each other again in the hallway. Mary looked Jane up and down and said, "Did I tell you what would happen if I saw you again? Are you going to mess with someone else's family again? It's a pity that your parents have a daughter like you. They deserve better. And I feel sorry for your mother, who raised you alone, and for your father, who fears at the sight of you in the hallway because you're hysterical." What did you say? What do you mean? What did you say again? What father? Where is he? Look, I just wanted to hurt you. I'm sorry. I made a bad joke. I know when you're lying. Speak. I need to know because my mother is ill. Through her tears, Mary barely told her that her mother had been ill for a long time because she was so stressed about trying to find Mary's father in the world. And when she realized that she could not be cured, she decided to find her ex-husband. But when he met his ex-wife, he got angry. They had a fight, and the next day, Mrs. Downey fell into a coma. At that moment, Jane felt ashamed of herself. She sat down next to Mary and, just as before, put her arm around her friend's shoulders, hugging her tightly. She tried to calm her down. That afternoon, the girls spent several hours in Mary's mom's ward at the hospital, telling each other about their lives. Then, without warning, Mr. Lydon came in, and Jane left them alone. They've made up, although Mary's mom is still in a coma, but we hope for the best. We forgave each other and decided that we were better off together than apart. My family is ready to help her mother with treatment, but I stopped ignoring the rules of the school, and I got my best friend back. Tell me, guys, did you like my story? Write your opinion about it in the comments below the video. Do not forget to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.